Okay, we're live. This is me, Feño. I'm here with my dear friend Dan Albert. Hello.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about UFC 318. You guys might excuse us for a little second because we'll be sharing for a few minutes and we'll start talking about the fight. Uh, so let's go. Uh, where, d- where do I find the link to share? I guess.
I just made a post. You can just copy paste what I put.
Okay. Do you have a link to the video or?
Yeah, I just found the video on
Okay.
YouTube because it's live.
Okay. Fantastic. I'll be quoting you and okay. Uh Very quick here. Let me share with these people, and I need to share this.
I already shared it on Discord for you.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's great then. Okay, so let's get into the event. Yo, Dr. Jones. Hello. So, UFC 318, and we had the last fight of the illustrious career of Dustin Poirier. What were your main thoughts about the fight?
So I think going into this, I mean, just to be on the more sentimental side, I think both of us are big Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier fans. So I think one of the nature of like watching combat sports where you see two of your favorites go against each other is like, well, crap. It sucks that both of them could win, both of them have to lose. Who knows how this is going to go? So given like how all this was kind of set up anyways, I don't think there was going to be like a quote unquote greatest happy ending outcome for everyone just inherently, I think. Um but I think what we got for what it's worth was pretty good under the circumstances and contexts that we know personally. Um as for like predicting the fight itself, I think like going into it, I mean, just kind of matchup wise, there was no way it wasn't going to at least be fun. Even if like I definitely thought Poirier was more past it than Holloway, and that proved out to be the reality. Poirier looked pretty much nearly done, but he still kind of got through things just with enough craft and grit to like make things pretty competitive. I feel like he was about the same that he looked in versus Makachev personally.
I feel
Um,
like, I feel like he looked physically a bit worse, maybe.
yeah, I mean it's
Obviously, this is
close, but
a yeah. The striking looked sharper for Dustin here. Didn't look like anywhere close to his prime, but
mhm.
obviously, I feel like, and I've said this like a million times, but I feel like he was like not only worried about the takedown in the Makhachev fight, but he was also like consciously paring down his
Yeah,
game.
and
He was
without and without like considering how like round one went, so it's kind of hard to tell in that fight sometimes like how much of it was speed and how much of it was
yeah,
like
and
genuine decline.
that's the thing that I talked about in my podcast earlier this week is that Dustin always has been like a slow starter defensively, and he has masked that being a fast starter offensively.
Hmm.
But now that he has lost a bit of speed, the slow start in the defense has been a lot more notorious. I think we saw that, like he getting his ass kicked in the first round against Makhachev
Hmm.
and in the first round against Max, and then he actually like settled down and looked a lot better.
Dustin's always been an interesting fighter because he's like one of those guys who like he'll throw like the offensive kid at you earlier despite his defensive flaws, but he kind of is good at figuring things out and kind of gets good at like being more effective as something goes on. But he sort of has to figure it out sometimes.
Yeah, going back because Dr. Jones makes a point that I was exactly about to make is that you said like Dustin looked done, but done in the sense of fighting this level of opponents, right?
Yeah.
He could still like completely hang if he was fighting like a lower level of opposition. If he was fighting like the kind of dude that some of like some action fights near his age, like for example, like the kind of fighters that Drew Dover or Michael Johnson are fighting nowadays, like Dustin could still fight those.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem is that he's not fighting those. He's fighting like
Yeah.
monsters.
And it's still a testament to him that like he made the last two fights of his career as competitive as he did. It
Yeah, and
really.
he still managed to do some stuff happen. So that was like nice to see for sure.
Mhm.
Like I'm glad that he got to like retire looking like this and not like,
Mhm.
for example, imagine if someone anywhere in the world like likes Colby Covington and you you get endure watching him look like he does right now. Like you could say like you could maybe say that the Colby was very overrated at one point. Yeah, probably, but he's like insanely watched compared to what he was, and it's like I'm glad that we didn't get to see Dustin looking like that.
Yeah, I think no matter how this ended, I think the best outcome possible was probably going to be we got a competitive, good fight, and that's what we got. I think. And, um,
Yeah, especially because like Max is past it, but Max is still like
Max is
an
still
elite
close.
fighter,
Yeah,
while Dustin is like,
he's still definitely a title contender based upon just what he
yeah,
can do alone. But he's definitely physically past his best, and it's subtly kind of been that way for a while. I feel, but he's masked it with a lot of his like technical changes. There,
yeah,
there's a lot of ridiculous discussion about quote what prime Holloway looks like, but I don't really think like with a fighter with Max's constant changes and like obvious like physical changes that like
yeah,
that's
for
something you can
sure.
easily parse down.
I feel like Max is so adaptable, and another thing that I touched on my podcast earlier is that I was saying how the big difference between like Max and Dustin as like all time great fighters is the big difference for me, because I feel like quality wise they are like kind of close. I would still put Max ahead of Dustin, but I think the biggest thing is that Max Holloway shows up every single time. He's
Yeah.
so consistently good, while Dustin, he was like he was not like you never know what you're going to get, but he was prone to having like off nights. He was not like Max Holloway has that all-time great consistency that very few fighters have.
Yeah, I think also Dustin just sometimes kind of fought to the level of his competition a bit just because of how he started fights a bit. So it sometimes
Yeah,
led to some problems happening where maybe they shouldn't have been. But usually when push came to shove, like when he got the chance to separate himself from guys that weren't as good as him, he always did. Um, and vice versa. Like if he only like the actual like legitimate and good guys have beaten him in the last few years.
yeah.
Like
I feel like Max like he has to fight he against that a little bit. Like you could see like in fights against like for example like Arnold Allen or Jair Rodriguez, like you can see at points that Max is like playing into their games, he's fighting to their abilities.
mhm.
But then Max like wakes up and he's like,
Yeah,
no, wait a second, I'm way better than these
like
guys.
subtly, it's something that's always been on my mind for a year. Like Max Holloway, low key to me, has always been like a massive meathead, and
Yeah,
he's very good at hiding it. But like that dude not only loves to scrap, he gets so pissed off. Uh,
yeah, he has the right kind of like mean streak
yeah,
to.
he really has like that I don't for those of you who watch boxing like the Ray Leonard like mean streak. Like, oh, I'm a very nice guy, but I will punch a hole through your fucking
Yeah,
throat when you make me mad.
a
Um,
lot a lot has been said about let's talk about Max a little bit so we can like do a farewell for Dustin later.
yeah,
A lot has been said about the power of Max Holloway. I feel like he was always an underrated puncher.
I
He's
agree.
punching he's punching harder for sure, but it's more by design, more than like putting on weight to make 155, more than oh he's unlocking like new mechanics. I feel like he's putting himself in better positions to deliver power right now.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's an adaptation, a conscious adaptation, because he doesn't want to put himself on the line going for the insane volume that he did. So he gotta make sure that when he picks his spots, those spots like account for more. What do you think about that?
I definitely agree. I mean, Max has always had like underrated pop. Like, I mean, even though Aldo got knocked out by McGregor, even still, Aldo proved pretty difficult to hurt from like throughout his run after McGregor beat him, anyways. And I mean, Max put him down with like a 1-2 combat in their
Yeah,
first fight and hurt him really consistently. And it wasn't just like mental disorienting.
he heard.
He legit got his attention.
Yeah, he hurt Anthony Pettis with punches at one moment too, and
Oh
Pettis
yeah.
also a very
Oh
sturdy
yeah,
guy. So.
great point. Yeah, you could say Pettis was weight drained, but like hurting Anthony Pettis, no fucking joke.
Yeah,
And also like he got Dustin's attention a lot throughout that rematch, but I mean even like I think if you asked Volkanovski would go like, "Oh yeah, there were points where like Max got my attention pretty
oh
badly
yeah,
in all three fights."
especially second fight. I think he. I mean, everyone remembers that he got rocked with the head kick, but I think he got like clipped with some decent punches too.
Yeah, there's like a few points outside of the uppercut knockdown where like
Oh yeah, yeah,
Volk kind of looks bothered. And like even in the third fight, which Volk dominated, there's a point where Volk stops taunting him, and it's like after Max lands like a very specific right
yeah.
hand, if I
He
recall.
goes like, okay, I'm having too much fun here. I
Yeah.
need to take this a bit more seriously.
Yeah, I need to like, oh right, this guy's still really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Max has always been like a deceptive hitter, but he's definitely the kind of guy who hides it behind like a lot of things. Now, having said that, I do think actually in some ways his mechanics have gotten better over his career, which is also
I mean,
helping show that
he's
more.
having his feet under him more, and that and I like I like Max. The thing about Max is that Max always had like very good pop on his like on his long punches, not only the 1-2, but also like the long overhand. But now he's getting positioned to deliver hooks, which I feel like the hooks from Max Holloway were always very dangerous. But he was not fighting a style that was very conductive to finding big hooks. But if you go like way back, who was it? Like Akira Kurasani that he melted with hooks against the fence, and he put him out bad. So
Yeah, I think Max's rear hand, especially getting a lot better in recent years, has always
yeah,
been like something that stood out to me. That's actually one thing like that he was doing in this fight against Dustin quite a bit because like we all know how Dustin likes to lead with his shifts with that feeler like uncommitted like rear hand in order to go for the like right hook. And so Max would like kind of go for kind of a sort of cross counter maneuver to shut it down.
yeah,
And then Dustin made him pay for that for the round 2 knockdown, but we can get to that later. But the other thing I've also noticed is like Max's left hook counter has been especially really useful in
yeah,
his last few.
yeah.
Like it gave Poirier a lot of fits. It gave Poirier a lot of fits here, and I don't know if it gave HE some fits, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think so. To answer the question, I don't think Holloway like hits harder, but I definitely think like mechanics wise, he's made some improvements.
I mean, there's probably some like obviously some some improvement in mechanics, which obviously means he's hitting harder. But I think the difference is not as big as people think.
No, I don't.
Max did look like a lot bigger for this fight though, and that's probably also helping for sure.
Yeah,
And that was probably a bad idea to like make that bulk for that Justin fight and then lose the weight again to go fight Topuria. So man, I'm glad that Max is at 155 right now. Okay, so what would you like to see next for Max? Because like I feel like in our circle, like we're not big fans of a Topuria rematch like right away.
I mean, he's definitely still a guy who gives Poirier looks, and he's good enough that you can't count him out, but it's hard to like pick him, and I don't really think having him jump into that's the right thing now. I mean, Oliveira's right there.
Yeah, we all want Oliveira, right?
I mean, that's the fight I think everyone wants, even though Oliveira just got knocked out pretty clean. I think that's the one most people would want to see. If not that, I don't know. Does Dan Hooker have a fight booked? Why not?
Yeah, that would be sick.
Yeah.
I don't think that Hooker has a fight, man.
Yeah.
That
Because if
would be
we're
very
asking
fun.
for like exciting fights, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean you can always like make you can always make like every guy at the top of 155 beat on Michael Chandler too.
I mean,
You can make Max Holloway knock out Michael Chandler too. No,
yeah.
not really bad. But it wouldn't surprise me if the UFC made that actually.
Oh Jesus. Yeah. I don't need to risk hearing a Michael Chandler self-help speech again. And not even risk it. Yeah, I mean, I think basically like they should give Max Holloway like some guy in the top 10 who's like decently ranked. Like,
Yeah, I would say Oliveira, and like this is one that I've never heard anyone talk about, but like if you think about it, makes sense. Like put him against Paddy.
no, I was thinking that in the back of my mind, but I who knows what they'll do there. Yeah, why not? Who cares?
Okay, so let's get into Dustin. Let's talk first a little few things about the fight, and then we can make like a short retrospective on his career.
Hmm.
So one thing that I feel like Dustin obviously is still a puncher, still had good ideas. Uh, but I feel some issues were not like entirely related to him being slower. And one of the main ones is that I feel it, and I don't think I've heard another other guys talk about this, but I feel like uh, Dustin is like a lot more timid about getting into exchanges. He wants to lead a lot more, and if you saw Dustin on his prime, like a lot more willing to counter.
Hmm.
And if you see like the big difference between this fight, because Max was trying to punish like Max Dustin in this fight against went with backing down with the Stonewall, and but on the first time, if you see like Dustin was giving fits with the Stonewall to Max because he was picking his spots to like plant his feet and actually block, put the elbow in the right places. And now
Hmm.
Dustin was like, okay, I'm bailing out. I'm just putting the Stonewall. I'm backing up.
Yeah,
And he was,
Dustin's upper body movement with like defending it behind his guard isn't as prevalent anymore. All right,
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
big part of it. Like in fight two, the big dynamic of that fight that made it so chaotic was like, even though Poirier's like defensive like guard was so difficult to get through, his footwork kind of messed him up a bit when he retreated. So Max was like zeroing in on it. The problem was he could never like get past the counter punching very safely.
Yeah, that was the big difference. That on the second fight, Max was like, okay, he's retreating. I'm going to punish this. Dustin eventually went like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to plant my feet. I'm going to block a few shots, and I'm coming back with a big right hook. And he was not willing to do that in this fight.
Yeah. And but what's weird here is like kind of the inverse sort of happened a bit. Like this way around, like even though in fight two, Holloway backed him off a lot with counters, like here, like it was kind of the opposite. Like Poirier was trying to key in on like Holloway's like resets to attack him.
Yeah,
But he struggled a lot with the counter punching. So it was like a weird reversal of
yeah, it
things.
was, it was, yeah,
But Poirier's main successes, I think, were like two main things in particular. I think like with his jab, which has always been like very underrated. I think you and I can both attest to Dustin Poirier
yeah,
having low key one of the best jabs of the
yeah. A
last
lot
like
of
10
people
years.
were surprised, and it was like, ah, the jab has always been there.
Oh, it's always been there. Like it's what won that first Gaethje fight. It's
In fact, I think the jab was like more more notorious in this fight because he was not able to build off it.
mm-hmm,
So we were seeing like more jabs where if you go back to other fights like the first Justin Gaethje fight, the second Max fight, he was like using the jab and immediately setting up combinations. So you were like stuck with the right hook, with the straight
yeah,
left, more in your mind. Here was like he was stuck at just jabbing, and I feel like a bit of that was mental, right? Because a lot of times he was like double, triple jabbing, and he was like putting Max in bad reactive positions, and
mm-hmm.
he was not like following up with the
Yeah,
left
he had
here.
a great idea, like with the jab, because like what he would do is he would like kind of angle it out to like flick it out, out in order to like target Max's chest to like follow him whenever Max tried to guard or like weave, even so that way he could set Max up a lot easier, and that helped him a lot on the later rounds. But he usually found his success off of like the step-ins in particular, because he's very good at like flashing out the jab in kind of a stiff way that Poirier does to catch guys unaware, and that's usually some of the harder jabs to punish for most
Yep.
people. I think like one thing I also would bring up is like how he set up the round 2 knockdown, which is where like he did the same like kind of thing he does where he feeds you like the rear hand, except that's not what he actually did. He actually like faked pulling it to bait out like the right hand from Max and then cracked him with the right hook.
Yeah.
Immediately. Like yeah. And he kind of did that actually throughout the fight to keep setting up the jab over and over again. It was a really, really good decision.
And that was actually a sequence where like Dustin decided to exchange in the pocket, right? Because like he actually threw like a rear hook in that sequence that he was not doing the rest of the fight. Like he was not getting into those close quarters.
Yeah. I think though, like there was definitely some issue pulling the trigger. I think Dustin was a bit afraid to exchange with Max, but also vice versa. I would say Max probably didn't know, like, oh, okay, he's still the guy who hurt me in exchanges and fight too. Who knows if he can still do that?
And it turned out that he could.
Yeah. But I do think as well, I think despite those things, including like the decline and stuff, I do think Max made a very, very active effort to try to hand fight Poirier to prevent him from jabbing when they were planted quite a bit.
Yeah, this version of Dustin was like a lot easier to kick too.
Oh yeah.
Because and that one is actually related to the speed because he was not like able to cover ground after getting kicked. So I feel like that was one thing, and Dustin was like at one moment in his prime, I would say like he's actually pretty good at like parrying kicks.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not free to kick him, and he was also like very good at like just like jamming the distance and just hit you with the left hand. That's actually how he knocked out Justin Gaethje on the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, I have more to say on like things about Poirier in a minute that we can add to, but I think if I was to look at this fight holistically, not just like from like a technical point of view, but like an entire point of view, like and this is some stuff I wrote like in my small like here's my thank you to Dustin Poirier write up that I put on my Substack, but I think like first of all, there was an interview Dustin Poirier did like actually with Ariel Helwani actually the other day that I think kind of confirmed this for me. But I got the impression last few years that Dustin Poirier kind of realized that, you know what, I didn't win a title technically, but that's a discussion for another minute, as you know. I kind of realized the journey was more worth it all the way, and that I got to prove myself by being competitive with the best still. So I think him going out while still being competitive with the best is a great way for him to go out. Oh,
yeah,
even
for
if,
sure.
like,
I feel
even though like it sucks, I mean, he didn't get that last one, but on the other hand, and well, I hate to admit it, I do think it's good at the very least in this series between these two. Holloway at least got one, because having 0-3 doesn't tell the full story of these fights. And this last fight was a pretty good one.
Yeah, it was like very good. So yeah, so I think like the thing with Dustin is that, and some people think that it's overrating him. Like Dustin obviously is not like I said, like he's like a step below a fighter from like Max Holloway in the all-time great conversation. But I still think like if you go by resume, his best streak, his wins, I think he ranks ahead many UFC champions as an all-time great.
I mean, I'm jumping ahead of where I was going to go, but like every fight after that, Michael Johnson lost. Even like the lesser ones like Miller and Saint Denis, like every one of them. Like you do not get like that kind of lineup unless like you're like the very top of the division, like one or two guy usually.
Yeah, even if that's the thing, right? Like his last two wins, like Michael Chandler and Benoit Saint Denis, like quality wins actually.
Yeah, Like so my first exposure to Dustin Poirier was when I saw his fight with Chan Sung Jung TKZ years ago. Oh, and I always remember just watching it, and after like the third round, after they finished beating the shit out of each other, because that fight's fantastic for obvious reasons. It's frankly forgotten, unfortunately, but I always remember Dustin just kind of in his corner. He's like 23 in this fight. He's obviously
Yeah,
young. You can still tell he's struggling a little bit with confidence, but he's like very excitable and stuff. He's here to prove himself and to have the most fun and be the best he can be. And his corner's like, dude, you're in a fight of the night right now. This is awesome. And you could just see this like glow in his eyes at that moment.
yeah,
And it's so specifically endearing to me. I'll always remember that. And then but you could always tell for like all those like little years, Dustin just kind of like, he didn't have like a lack of confidence or just like something like he gave up. No, he just panicked a lot. He had a lot of anxiety. He hadn't come into his own.
yep,
And then like you get to like these strings of like losses where he picks himself up and just gets better after each one. McGregor knocks him out. He gets better, starts beating the crap
yeah,
out of lightweights. Then he gets assassinated by Michael Johnson, who could be hot and cold and decided to be hot that one night.
yeah.
And then he goes on the fucking run of his life.
And that run is so good. Like a lot of champions would kill for a run like that. To be quite honest.
Yeah, like again, it can't be emphasized enough. Dustin Poirier is the guy who got nervous a lot when he was in the fire, despite wanting to be there, and then to eventually being, in his words, like, I'm the guy who can out uncomfortable everyone who's uncomfortable.
Yeah. I was about to get into that, right? Because you were saying like he was like enjoying that like Korean zombie fight, but you can tell like it was like kind of getting to him, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same. Like he was doing fine against McGregor the first time around. People forget like he showed up with like a decent game plan, but you could tell that he was so nervous in that fight.
Yeah.
And I think it mostly contributed to the knockout that he was like so tense. Like when you're tense like that, like you're not in position to absorb shots, and then you go from that to like fights where, for example, like the classic lineup like Eddie Alvarez, like Justin Gaethje,
But before
like
we even get there, like before he gets knocked out by MJ, even like he faces Bobby Green. And Bobby Green is an annoying guy for all guys, but you could tell like Poirier's coming into his own with like the poison stuff.
Yeah, because Bobby Green is poison for a guy that is like kind of insecure.
Yeah, exactly. And he's good too, but Dustin kind of just like went through it and knocked him out. And the only reason like MJ kind of beat him is kind of just because MJ was better at the time, more or less. But then he comes back against Miller. And like Miller wasn't like elite, but he could make guys uncomfortable. And he sure as hell made Dustin uncomfortable with those kicks.
Yeah, he thrashed his leg. Like Dustin couldn't even walk after that fight.
And then Dustin like manages to like score a fight-winning takedown in like third round, which is the best decision.
That's insanely clutch. Like who the fuck does that, right?
Yeah. But then like if you're testing that, so then he shows up against Eddie next. And like Eddie Alvarez, the quintessential like veteran, incredibly crafty guy, really, really scrappy. And Dustin is just tooling his ass.
Yeah, the first fight, and that's where I think like when Eddie hurt him before the DQ on the first fight, like people were like, oh, Eddie was about to finish him. Like you cannot know, because this is a different Dustin Poirier than the one that used to break.
And then you get their rematch later on where just like, I mean, even though McGregor sniped him, it's a very different thing to snipe Eddie Alvarez out versus trying to finish him in a long sequence.
Yeah, that sequence is insane. Like Dustin goes at him for like a minute.
Yeah, and I mean, like a lot of guys would have like been finished like at the very start of that sequence, but Eddie Alvarez, even like one who's a veteran, is just a crazy survivor. But the fact that Dustin took him out and the way
it was so impressive,
yeah, and like I mean, he did get that one little low blow back at one point.
But
that doesn't matter.
Yeah, because and that's funny because like after seeing like that finish against like Justin and against like Eddie and shit, um, then years later, like I was very nervous for the second McGregor fight.
Yeah.
But when he was started unloading against the cage, I was like, I was not scared about Dustin Poirier gassing in that sequence. I knew it was over for McGregor. It was like Conor doesn't have it in him to survive an onslaught for Dustin Poirier. He's going to
Yeah.
die here.
No, like
That was exactly what happened.
yeah, it's like as Poirier went on, just like him becoming such an insane finisher, even in a division that like had Oliveira in it, and it like where it's actually a competition between who was probably the better one by the time they fought really says a lot. And so
Yeah,
then like but there was like other stuff even before we get to that Holloway rematch, but like he meets Pettis, former champion, out grapples him, busts him up on the ground in a really wild scramble
that's so good.
instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fight's awesome too. Even all-time I'm Paul Felder commentary line. And these guys are mixing some DNA right now.
Yeah,
Uh
that's so good.
yeah, and then there's the Gaethje fight, which I think if there was a fight that basically like told you that Dustin Poirier had finally come into his own, it was that fight.
Yeah, because that was when I knew this was a different Dustin Poirier because like when when Justin started like to turn around the fight with the leg kicks, like I remember the discourse like watching on Twitter live, everyone was like, okay, Dustin is done. He's not the kind of to make a comeback. But Dustin didn't need a comeback. Like he was yeah, he was getting his leg kicked, but he has been boxing the shit out of Justin Cage to that moment.
Yeah,
And it's the fact that Justin made it to so late into the fight that was like weirder actually.
yeah. I mean, I'm simplifying that fight a lot, and I mean, obviously, because it's
Yeah,
one of the best
obviously.
fights ever. But like, literally, that's the fight right there that shows. Okay, you can pressure Dustin Poirier, you can cut off the cage and punish his footwork and put him in bad positions, but that doesn't mean he's fucked.
And
'Cause-
and there's the other thing that Dustin Porter talking about, like for example, like Flinner in the chat, hello man, he's mentioning the Dolphy fight.
Good
Like
call.
if Dustin needs to find an answer in his prime, he's going to do it. Like he's not like everyone talks about like, oh, Dustin Porter the boxer, but Dustin Porter is a dangerous guy everywhere.
Yeah,
Like Gaethje was considered like a monster inside the clinch till that moment. Dustin landed a huge elbow on Justin Gaethje there.
yeah. Dustin
uh,
competed with Oliveira a bit in the clinch too.
yeah, and
Ew.
I feel like later into his career he lost a bit of confidence in his clinch, which his clinch is very good. Like
Mm-hmm.
we saw in that second Max fight. For example, I post the clip of that foot sweep right from the double collar ties,
Yeah.
but also those the knees in transitions that he tried to do a little bit of that here in the third fight, but like the key knee that he landed on that fourth round against Max that like made the
Mm-hmm.
huge gash on his head.
Yeah, that
Uh,
stopped the momentum in a round that was like getting really scary for
yeah,
him.
he was like punishing like Jim Miller, Anthony Pettis, Joe Duffy. He was like taking it to them inside the clinch against those guys. So the very creative like those like side hammer fists that he was landing on that hooker against the fence.
Yeah, I
Those were
mean,
great.
yeah, I mean, like it's crazy because like the thing about like Dustin that always amazes me is like like Poirier always like surprised guys in like realms that you wouldn't expect. Like I saw a lot of people for years like acting like he was like lightweight condit with his wrestling defenses and grappling, and that always was ridiculous. Like he definitely had like footwork issues, but like his wrestling was pretty good. His grappling was always underrated. Just see what he did to poor old Mr. Mikey Chandler self-help booklet
Yeah,
extraordinaire.
people forget I like and yeah, like Chandler top game him and he had to like use every shit under the sun to keep him on the ground.
With no
But like
hips.
but people forget that Eddie Alvarez took Chandler's back couldn't choke him out. Charles Oliveira took Chandler's back, couldn't choke him out. Paddy Pimblett
Good
took
point.
the back of Michael Chandler, couldn't choke him out. Who
Great
did choke
point.
him out? Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
Like in the words of Dustin himself, who ain't got jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. No, the crazy part about Dustin is always like I said, like surprising, like going back to like his striking, especially though, like the scariest thing about Dustin that has always freaked me out about him as like a pocket boxer, where he's obviously one of the best in MMA history, is like he was such a sharp, specific puncher that he could just fucking own you even from a position you wouldn't expect.
Yeah,
Like,
that was like the big narrative I feel about the both his biggest wins, right? The Conor 2 and the Max 2 fights was like when Conor and Max were like, oh, he fucked up with the footwork. This is where I get going, and Dustin
right hook.
And Dustin is like, wait.
Right hook goes burr.
Right hook.
And then he like points and laughs at Conor like, gotcha.
Yeah, and you can tell like Dustin was very nervous on that second Conor fight, because it obviously like winning against Conor at the time was like life-changing stuff. And he was nervous early.
Yeah.
And then when he got that first like clean right hook and he pointed at Conor, he was like, okay, I got this bitch.
Yeah, it was so cool too, just because like, I mean, like no matter what you think of Conor McGregor, and like the fact that both of us are like obvious Dustin Poirier fans, like thinking about it like narratively, like how McGregor was that guy who got in his head all those years ago, and now he's giving it back. Heck, and also like, oh, you got me in a bad spot, too bad. And it was so cool. And there's nothing to say about that finish that isn't already said. Good old Luke Thomas had all of our reactions for that day.
Yeah, getting back into the chat, like Dr. Jones mentions, like Dustin like hitting those body shots on Islam, right? That was crazy, like,
dude. Yeah.
And when have you seen when Islam goes to congratulate Dustin after the fight, and like he says like look what you done to me, like, and Islam face is a mess there, like.
Yeah.
But if you look at him, like, his ribs were all fucked up from those body shots.
I always wish Dustin was more of a prolific body puncher, because like,
because he's so good when he does it, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think even he said like sometimes I kind of just enjoyed punching people in the face too much. If I remember.
yeah, because Dustin has like at times I felt like I always felt when he was on that run that he was at one moment like about to turn into like this like killer body puncher, and at the end he never did it, but it was like in the Max 2 he landed some nice body shots, some long left hands to the body. He was landing I'm not sure if he landed some right hooks. I feel he did in some like pocket exchanges too. He landed to the body against Max too. He landed that nasty one against Benoit Saint Denis, and huge right hook to the body in that one.
Yeah, I mean, what do we even say about that Max 2 fight that we couldn't say already? One of the best fights ever, but also like wasn't Volkanovski who stopped Holloway's winning streak? Nope, it was good old Dustin Poirier.
It was Dustin Poirier, yeah.
It took Volkanovski 10 more rounds before he could fuck up Max's face that bad. And I love Volkanovski, and that third fight is one of the best.
It's one of the best performances of MMA history.
But he wasn't the first one to make Max look like he had blood on his face. Not like that.
Yeah, that was insane. I think that's I feel people take away from that win because like, oh, Max was a featherweight, but Max was always a featherweight, and also like insane cardio, so that's a scary dude to fight over 5 rounds.
Yeah,
and to be fair, like Max on that second fight, sure he couldn't take the punches from Dustin Poirier, like who can take the punches?
I mean, who can take that many? Like who can?
Yeah. But
Dan Hooker could a few years ago, but we'll get to that.
But against the argument of like, oh, Max was like too small for Dustin, and like there's a bit of that, but also like Dustin went for a takedown against the cage, and Max Holloway looks so fucking strong in there.
Dustin
Like
said that too in an interview I heard a
he
few
was
months
surprised
ago.
that his legs were so strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
he said, yeah.
Yeah. Also in the clinch too, like there are points against the cage where Max turns him and it starts fucking him up there. Like I mean, we could talk all day about how insane that fight is, honestly. Like just it's impossible not to just gush about it. But yeah, I think what ultimately helped Poirier is like he's the first one who Max ever ran into who could not only like trade with him on his own turf, but like could be sharper in that exact first layer just enough. And I
Yeah,
mean,
it's and he would the thing about Dustin too was that he was the only one until Volkanovski that was able to like ride the momentum. And actually,
yeah.
Volkanovski did not do that on that first fight. He was like just completely avoiding those like waves from Max Holloway, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you could see like fighters have had very good moments against Max Holloway, and they don't translate into anything. Going back to exactly the same two fights that I already mentioned, Yair Rodriguez and Arnold Allen, like they had very good moments at times, and it didn't matter at all. Like
He
it
just
didn't
came right
change the
back.
momentum of the fight.
Yeah,
But when Dustin, every little bit of success that Dustin had, he was like, "I'm taking this to the bank right now." Like,
yeah. I mean, he knew too, because like as that fight went on, like it just got so stressful, and like it really took him like getting that knee later on to be able to say, okay, I can ride this out, but it's still going to be tough. But like, because there are still points like where Max is just on the verge of overtaking that fight,
yeah, and on
and
that
that's
fifth
so
round,
scary.
like like Max wanted to just like let go with with a 100 punch combo, but Poirier was like, okay, I gotta relax here. I'm going to get
Mhm.
behind my jab. I'm going to pick my spots. I'm going to deny the exchanges in this part.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Doc Jones. Just about Dustin being an underrated minute winner. Yeah, especially like behind like the jab, like the second he gets that going.
Yeah,
Like, I think
and
Dustin like when he like could flip that switch like when he was on and recognized it. Like yeah, he pushed for it. Like and I think the Hooker fight's a great example of that because it's like, oh, this guy's pushing me hard. Well, I'm gonna push him right friggin' back.
yeah, and that one. I mean, that's the one that we haven't talked about, but that Hooker fight is fucking insane.
Dude, I think I mean honestly, how many other fighters would survive the first 10 minutes of that fight? Not just for like one guy, but both of them.
I'm so glad that they used that soundbite of him like saying, "I'm having a blast." in
you,
the corner,
you
it's so good.
you know a fight's crazy. Like when like Michael Bisping, who has probably seen a lot of fights, is like literally screaming in the background, going, "What in the hell is going on?"
Michael Bisping was having the time of his life.
Yeah, because like
I don't blame.
Bisping can be an exaggerative commentator, but like
No, that was the level of hype necessary for that
yes,
fight.
I mean, not like Hooker tried to literally chin bully him and had good legitimate tactics to like maximize his game. And it didn't fucking matter because he wasn't fighting an uncomfortable Dustin Poirier that didn't give a shit about being uncomfortable anymore. Or
Yeah, that this is not to aggrandize Poirier, but that might be like the best performance of Hooker's career, to be honest.
yes.
He looked so good in that fight.
Oh yeah. Like he had the right game plan and everything, and just like
Like people are not going to rate that win that highly because like Dan Hooker has been on and off after that. But on that night, Dan Hooker was
dude,
like a bad dude,
what
man.
Hooker was doing to Dustin against the fence, like with the body shots
Oh
and those
my!
knees.
I have no idea how Dustin ended up like cardio bullying him down the
Yeah.
road
It
because
was
those
probably the body kicks mainly, but like yeah, speaking of being having
Dustin
ridiculous
was landing some nasty body kicks on
yeah.
Hooker. Yeah,
And he would follow up with like the overhands too. That would just make Hooker's head spin out. Jesus Christ, no wonder Hooker's chin was never the same after that fight.
yeah.
Yeah. The yeah, like Dustin's cardio as well. Nothing can be said about that. Dude might be the best fighting tired fighter ever.
Yeah, Dr. Jones makes a great point. Like, has Dustin ever been hurt to the body? Like wincing in pain? No. Obviously, the body shots from Hooker and from Charles Oliveira were taking a toll. but I still think it is insane that neither guy was able to like even like make him grab his tummy for a second.
Yeah, I think like only 3 guys have an argument for like saying, like I bothered him to the body, but like I don't think like anyone made him wince that much. Like outside of that one like big knee Oliveira hits him with early, like that kind of makes him go like that for a second.
Yeah,
And I do not remember for the life of me where he just like
he
looked
was
like
like I was like so surprised that like because Max is also underrated popping his kicks, and he was
yeah.
eating those body kicks that were a great tactic. Like Ryan Wagner did an article about that,
Yeah, he
but
was saying like that was a good one to Max, which means that he did feel it and knows how bad
yeah,
they
but
were.
he was like the reactions were so small. Like those were
Yeah.
disgusting body kicks, and he didn't even get tired. Yeah, it was insane actually.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's oh my god. He's ridiculous. Um yeah, yeah, and then like so after the Hooker fight there were the McGregor fights. We already went about those. Owning Michael Chandler, I think we brought that up.
Yeah,
I don't think we need to really talk much about the Khabib and Oliveira losses that much outside of saying like I think it's a testament to him even though those were kind of like more cold showings from him or he just met someone who was just better and a level
yeah,
above him.
yeah.
He
I
still had
feel like
moments.
I, I said in my podcast, like I'm not saying that Dustin wins those fights, but it's clear that those were not like his best performances. Like
Yeah.
especially the Habib one. The Habib one was straight up bad, and he still
Still
put
hurt him.
Habib puts Habib in the 2 worst places basically of his career.
Mhm.
Because like Habib doesn't give praise to anyone for free, and he said like the guillotine was close. He said it
Yeah.
was the only time that he was close to tapping in his career. He said it was that guillotine against Dustin Poirier.
That fucking guillotine, man.
And
Yeah.
people clown on Dustin because he never got the gilly, but like, yeah, it is a silly tactic to jump guard, but like, I mean, it's the word is out there. Like Dustin is tapping black belts in ATT all the time with the guillotine. That's the reason he wants so bad because he knows it is good. The thing is that he has been fighting like insanely good fighters.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even in the times where he's lost, he's still looked good. Like the Oliveira fight, like round one. Oh my god, round one of that fight.
Yeah,
Jesus
Dr. Jones,
Christ.
that's a great point. People, I've heard people say like, oh, he has like actually his guillotine is so bad. Like, nah, it's actually
No.
not bad. It's a good guillotine. Like it's a good guillotine. It's funny because the guillotine that Connor had on Dustin was pretty good too. That would be insane if Connor got that, man. I would still be sad if that happened.
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
but it's there's a video of Masvidal in the crowd. Like, Masvidal, who also has like a very good like gym guillotine, and he's watching live the third fight between Conor and Dustin. As soon as Dustin puts his head on the ground, Masvidal is like, "Oh, Conor is not getting this." like, like he's like, "I never get the guillotine on Dustin when he goes to the ground like that." Like he's getting out like 100%. Like he was so confident about that.
yeah. Oh my gosh. I think that's the big thing about Dustin Poirier, just in a nutshell. Like there's so much we can say about him, but like even though he wasn't like legitimately like the best in the world. I mean, you could argue technically him versus McGregor for that rematch probably should have been the real title belt instead of Oliveira Chandler, but different discussion. But that win over Holloway, I don't know about anyone else. That's as fucking legit a title win
Yeah,
as you can get.
yeah. I think the moment Habib retired, you could argue that Dustin Poirier was the best lightweight in the world in that moment.
Yeah, and it wasn't
So
until Oliveira beat him where like that
yeah,
was in doubt. But like, yeah, I think it says a lot like about him, not just as a fighter, but like also just like as a competitor. Like no one besides McGregor and Chandler has really said anything negative about him. But you're looking at like the two most self-aggrandizing people.
and And Chandler really wants to be like Dustin's pal. Dustin is not on board, but like Chandler, he did it for a bit, and Connor probably too. Like Connor is insane. Like you
Yeah.
could tell before the second fight that Connor actually liked Dustin. Like everyone likes Dustin.
And then he got bitter because he lost.
Yeah,
Both.
he went insane because he got punked.
Yeah. Yeah, getting knocked out for the first time and you're like legit knocked out.
Yeah,
But
it's any fight you're sad we didn't get to see about Dustin.
um
For me, there's like 3, and 2 are actually like very easy wins for Dustin. I feel, but I still wanted to see them. I really wish I got to see like Dustin beating the shit out of Nate Diaz and Cowboy Cerrone.
yes, dude. Oh my god.
And the one that would be competitive, and I still think Dustin wins, is against Tony. That would have been
Yeah.
so fucking good. Yeah.
That fight would have been awesome, but Tony would have gotten fucked up.
Yeah. But that's way more winnable for Tony than like Nate and Cowboy, who
Yeah.
would get like.
I know someone would probably bring up RDA, but I kind of suspect RDA would kind of be able to mitigate that fight, but it'd be scary at a few points.
Oh yeah, that would be actually good. Yeah, but RDA is like next level top game, so he can probably win like that. So
Yeah. I know I'm forgetting one. Who is it?
Felder would have been very fun too.
Felder would have been very fun. Oh my god, who is it? I'm forgetting. If he fought Fazeev like a few years ago, I think that would have been very fun.
Oh, that would have been fire. That was rumored for a time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm forgetting a really obvious one. I cannot remember who it is. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's funny that the list is so short.
Yeah.
That he gave us like everything.
He fought everybody. Like, I mean,
like Jack's like made a great point about like Mighty Mouse. Is like, okay, sure, Mighty Mouse, like you had like a lot of title defenses, but you were fighting like Chris Carriazo and John Moraga, and Dustin Poirier was fighting Eddie Alvarez and Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway and
yeah, because like I mean, love DJ, amazing fighter. He didn't want to fight TJ Dillashaw. I'm sorry, but he didn't want to, and I'll always hold that against him.
Yeah.
But...
Okay, so we I haven't talked this with you, but probably like we should watch some Dustin Poirier fights and make some alternate commentary for the guys.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get into that, and also I'll be doing also a live marathon, so we can watch like Dustin fights someday, hopefully soon. But yeah, we won't be over thanking Dustin Poirier anytime soon. I think so.
No.
We can get into more of that later. Why don't we like speedrun the some of the rest of the stuff in the card before leaving? So let's talk about co-main event, because I know you have some things about to say about Costa versus Kopilov.
Oh yes, Costa, the identity crisis kid. Yes, Costa, the returning of Costa's pressure against Kopilov, Costa's pressure, that pressure against Kopilov. We had an Emperor's New Groove joke going, and I forgot the exact lines. So, Costa is so weird as a fighter, because like you just remember his insane, batshit insane fight with Yoel a few years ago, and like I definitely think like his game product wise, like definitely facilitated more towards southpaws, especially with the body kick and like open hand like right hooks to the body, and that favored him here. But like little things in his game just kind of disappeared like throughout, because Adesanya spooked him, and then his left hook and right hand just weren't in that fight at all. Then he fights Vettori, and that fight's especially weird because he has like no left hook in that fight, but then in the 5th round he kind of does and fucks him up really bad. I have no idea how Vettori didn't like. Speaking of body durability, Jesus Christ Almighty!
And not only in that fight, like Vettori is consistently a guy that tanks the shit out of body shots. Like he did in this event. Like Arnold Allen was landing like disgusting body kicks on that dude.
Dude, I mean, Vittori durability wise, I think we could spend all day on that too. But like, yeah, but then like Costa is just strange because then you'll jab him, and one of three things happen. Costa.exe will go, haha, funny, or he'll just like get confused, or he'll just smile and wave. I don't know what his deal is. Excuse me in the background. I'm trying to fix something, but he's there's never been like a clear like Polo Costa that I've like found reliable since, because he becomes more of like a moments ideas man as
Yeah,
opposed to like a genuine like processed guy that
a
you
lot more. Yeah, a lot more process in this one, but he still like was kind of focused. One thing that I gotta say about Costa though is like he's a very natural fighter, even when he's not doing like the
Mhm.
right thing. Um, it's in fact like in that fifth round, like I mean in that third round against Kopilov, when he was like very on the back foot and Kopilov was starting to like start doing his thing. And Kopilov is a dangerous striker when you allow him to like just go freestyle. But Costa, very smart about like picking, like finding a bit of success and like, and we were talking about that with Dustin about riding the momentum, right?
Mhm.
Like, like Kopilov would have him against the fence, but then Costa would find like a big right hand to the body, and he would immediately like find like use a bit of footwork, get on the regain the initiative, and I feel like Costa is like very natural in like, except for that Adesanya fight, he looked insanely bad there.
Yeah, he didn't
But
look great against Strickland either, but he had like good kicking ideas at least.
yeah,
Some
I think he had like an unsustainable game plan for that Strickland fight, and you could see that he won 3 rounds there. Like the optics were
I'm not
bad.
going to rewatch that fight to argue with you. I'm not the person to do it. I mean, I could, but I don't feel like it. Um,
No,
I
Costa is obviously a stupid as shit, but but he's
but
like
he's very
stupid.
natural. He's a very natural
Yeah,
fighter. Like I
and
think
he's like when it comes to ideas, he's like not as good, but similar to Dricus in that sense.
he's a very tactile kind of learner. And for those of you who don't know what I mean, like a tactile learner is somebody who like kind of feels by doing something.
Yeah,
So something that works, oh okay, I'll keep doing that. Okay, that works. Okay, I'll add to it. That's kind
yeah,
of how Dreykus does that a lot. Condit does that a lot. Sandhagen kind of does that a bit. Um, Col-
and you could see how like Costa was not like keeping on the pressure, which was like the smart thing to do in this fight. But he was adding layers to the offense. I love how he layered the outside leg kick and the left hook in open stances to the body, which is
Mhm.
like a very
Yeah,
underutilized punch in
yeah.
MMA.
Max did that a bit against Dustin to like find a way through his guard, which
Yeah,
always confused me why you didn't do that more in fight two. But then it occurred to me, oh right, counterpunching. But right, yeah, I think with Kopilov, like it really showed that he did not have a versatile lead hand in this fight, and hated how much Costa was hand fighting him the entire time. Um,
yeah, Kopilov, like I feel like Kopilov is that kind of southpaw that is used to MMA fighters not jabbing. So he's like, okay, I'm the only one jabbing here, having a field day. And Costa like hand fighting with him and using the rear shoulder and rear hip feint, like threw him off like completely.
yeah, I think it was a good showing by Costa. It's a shame, like I hope it's precedent for him being more consistent, even though he's like 34, so who knows. But hopefully he shows this kind of consistency and we can finally get that damn Cannoneer fight.
Oh
Assuming
yeah, this
assuming
Costa. To be fair, like this Costa had issues, but a very good fighter. Like let's be real here.
yeah. For those of you who don't know, Cannoneer versus Costa is the middleweight fight Feño and I have wanted for
We
years.
want that so bad, man. I feel like Kanye is kind of like a bit past it durability wise, but
Yeah.
still, I still love that.
Yeah. I mean a few years ago, Jesus Christ
That would
almighty.
have been so insane, yeah.
But yeah,
And I wish Kanye went south on that one.
yeah. Anyways, Costa, one last comment I'll say about this fight. Costa got hurt in round 3, And I was prepared to say, oh, he ate Michael Johnson. That's why Michael Johnson didn't have a Michael Johnson fight against Zell Huber earlier. But then it turns out I was wrong. So I was like, so wait, who was Michael Johnson this night? And that made it very confusing for me. And
Want
then
to
it
talk about?
occurred to me it was Kevin Holland, but we'll get to him later.
Oh, okay. Let's get into that. Let's get into that right now. Like,
Oh,
let's get into
oh,
D-Rod versus Holland.
do you want to start off, or do you want to hear my wonderful Shakespearean rant about Kevin Holland?
Okay, go on.
Where to start with this tragedy? Yeah, I want you to imagine you adopt a baby goat, and I want you to I want you to apply conditioning to it to learn how to skate on ice while rapidly making banging sounds around it. And I want you to watch especially how it regains its footing every single time it tries to maneuver this giant ice rink. And that is a perfect emulation of what Kevin Holland's footwork is doing. Because I am not exaggerating. So Kevin Holland's deal when he moves his feet is alarming. He slides. Literally what he does is he brings his foot together and goes like that. And that means every time he does something, he always has to reset. And if you took a sip every single time, you would probably get
drunk as shit
within a minute. And it is so distracting if you've watched hours upon hours upon hours of boxing like I have. Because good God. So the part that really, really stood out to me about this fight is because of that, he's so uncomfortable at range, but more prevalently, he has no ability to follow up at range. So every single time he runs in, Rodriguez can just counter him. And every single time he waits, Rodriguez can just blitz him and succeed because his footwork just explodes on itself.
Oh yeah, it's funny because and I feel like that's great to talk about Joe Rogan here because obviously D-Rod has very janky punching mechanics, but that's still pretty good. That he punches somewhat in an Nate Diaz kind of sense, relaxed kind of janky punching, but it's still he still has some technical proficiency to his punching. There's not it's kind of janky, it's kind of loopy, but he still throws from a good place. He transfers weight he transfers weight pretty decently. But what makes D-Rod or Nate Diaz a boxer is actually the footwork. So when Joe Rogan starts saying oh, he's so technical about Kevin Holland, who is doing fuck all with his feet.
We do have to remember that Joe Rogan thinks technical means neutral space outside fighting, and that you can't be technical when you come forward and do shit what Poirier does, which is okay.
But yeah, it's funny because Kevin Holland at times throws very pretty punches, a 1-2 that it's very straight, very to the point. He has some nice hooks too, especially for a guy that is so long. The way he banged Joaquin Buckley inside the pocket back in the day, very tight, pretty nice hook.
Mm-hmm.
But the feet are a mess, and the feet is what makes a boxer in the end. And that was where D-Rod was eating him alive here. It was the feet.
Yeah, because you can tell Rodriguez is very much past his physical best, but if fundamentally that's the one edge he had until Holland hurt him really, really bad in that bonkers third. But yeah, I don't have much else just to say. Jesus Christ to the footwork is all I got.
What else? Do you want to talk about MJ a little bit? Michael Johnson?
Yeah, Michael Johnson. Yeah, I think this was a good example of Michael Johnson's good veteran showings, despite early career. I don't think you would entirely expect this from him, even though he has that really good Barboza fight showing. because like MJ is kind of someone who panics a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
But here, this was a great example of like him doing some very, very good work. I really think Johnson had a great idea of manipulating like the inside foot position to get the jab going. Because a lot of people think, oh, you can't jab in an open stance apparently, and yes, you can. You just get the lead inside foot position. And the downside is if the opponent's able to launch like a straight counter down, but not if you have the distance management to do that. Johnson did good work like manipulating like the body jab for that, and then just setting up the overhands to like counters. There was a lot of like good like drawing out Zellhuber's like panic counters to that because Zellhuber. My immediate thought was, did Zellhuber ever fight a southpaw before? I have no idea because he looked so uncomfortable. It actually blows my mind.
Yeah, it was very weird. It was very weird. And the few times that he was like doing something else, like a few times he was like punching off the kicks, and he was like immediately finding Johnson. Like it was a very puzzling performance, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
I mean, not to take away from Michael Johnson because he looked very good and he was
Yeah.
doing good stuff. Especially the footwork traps that has always been like the bread and butter of Michael Johnson. They were like very effective. He was like doing good work with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like in terms of like when Michael Johnson's on like the straight line, he always works behind the jab, especially the body jab, which he's always been good at. Yeah, he gets a lot of great work done, and like I think it was a very good veteran performance from him.
Yeah, it was very very nice to see actually, and he
Yeah,
has been fighting like quite nice for a little bit
yeah.
after going like into like yet another Michael Johnson like insane like losing streak or
But
50-50 streak.
we have now been robbed of the perfect like 50-50 number here, so we gotta balance
Well,
this
we gotta get Michael Johnson losing a little bit. He
we
he gotta
gotta
retire with a 50-50 record.
we were so damn close to the agenda and it's been ruined now. Oh, everything
Remember
needs to be
when
in perfect
very
balance.
very off topic, but remember when Clay Guida like looked like the best he has ever looked in 10 years just to beat Michael Johnson? It was insane.
Yeah. Remember when Kevin Lee had that press conference where he was about to fight Chiesa? He was like, "Yeah, Michael Johnson wins half his fights versus." and then
That's so
and then
you can
Kevin
you can
Lee's
even
career.
get mad at that because it's true.
Yes. I mean
Any
that would make sense. That would make sense. My Patty Pimblett has always fought a bunch of old dudes. It wouldn't make.
Yeah, if you want to keep the like the young hunting, like he can go that route. Um, do you have any other fights from the pay per view that you want to talk about?
Anything worth bringing up about Pitbull Ige, or is it?
Okay, People League was kind of fun. Interesting. Like Pitbull like just refuses to work, even though he's a guy that has cardio. Like, I mean, he's
Yeah,
old. He has been
yeah.
fighting forever.
hmm Yeah, it was a weird fight. Ige always struggles with like it's not that he doesn't have rangefinders, he's just not good at like pairing things together
Yeah,
cohesively.
the thing that Ige can get going, but I feel like
He's not great on the lead. That's kind
the
of
the
just
problem
it.
the problem for Ige is that everything that he leads with is so big, like it gotta be like shifts, big overhands, kick
hmm
into a punch, like just get a jab, man, for the love of God.
Yeah, and it's why Pitbull like ultimately won this because it's like Pitbull's fine if you can't lead because he's very good on the counter and he likes to. Uh, the one time Ige really did catch him though was like when Pitbull overextended and then kind of got caught on a head kick for it in like the third. But yeah, Pitbull basically could just control it just by playing reactive because Ige doesn't really know how to do that. So I'm happy Pitbull got a win
Yeah.
at this stage of his career in the UFC because commentary didn't want him to. They've made that
Oh
very
no no
obvious.
no! Commentary was hating on Pitbull. That was insane.
Yeah,
That one of the clearest agendas that we've seen from commentary in recent
yeah.
memory.
By the way, for those of you who haven't watched much of like Prime Pitbull, you should definitely watch his fights with Coran and Strauss. If you need help finding them, hit
Yeah,
me up.
yeah, those are so good. Yeah,
Those
we
fight,
we we should maybe watch those two.
Yeah, they're a bit hard to find though. I'll probably have to dig into where they are again because I think I have one or two on my Google Drive. But yeah, if you ever want to watch those listening, just hit me up in DMs on Discord or Twitter, and I'll get them to you. I don't have a problem helping that. Those fights deserve to be seen.
And I guess that's it for the pay-per-view. I mean, there was other like decent performances. Oh, I mean, Brendan Allen versus Vettori was fun.
Yes, the
Everyone is
the fight of the night.
everyone is mad because it got fight of the night, but
It
it
was a
was very
solid
good
one.
actually. Yeah,
It shouldn't have gotten it, but it was solid.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Dustin against Max, it should have been the fight of the night. It's so stupid that Dana went that way, but I don't know.
I mean, I've seen genuinely more confusing fight of the night awards, but that one's
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
one.
At least it went to a, and I cannot get mad because you know that like Allen and Vettori need the money more than Dustin and Max.
True, yeah. Yeah, that fight was interesting. I think it was like a decent one between two pretty flawed fighters who try pretty hard. Or where Allen's just a bit sharper and hits a bit harder.
Yeah, it was pretty much that. Like I'm more resourceful too. Like Vettori is like super down, but he tries to find answers with the few tools that he has. Like
Vittori's very much a doer. Or
yeah,
as opposed to like,
to be fair, like it looked to me for a while that Vettori looked completely done, and he looked very decent in this fight. So I'm glad about that.
yeah.
It makes for a more healthy division because
Mm-hmm.
it's redemption for Vettori because that Vettori versus Dolitze 2 fight is like the worst shit that I ever seen in my life. So I'm glad that
That
Vettori
says a
is back.
lot. That says a lot as
Vettori is
well.
back at having decent fight instead of like terrorism. So
Yeah.
and Carly Judice was fantastic.
I saw a bit of that. Yeah, she's very cool. I liked what I saw from her. Very rare to see like
She's very early into her career too, so
yeah,
she's one to
very
look out
good
for.
like rear like doubling up tactics. Very rare to see that in women's MMA, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, but it's always good when a fighter like this shows up because it's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to like bring up the level of the division. I'm very
Yeah,
happy about
absolutely.
that. Dan, before we say goodbye, do you want to plug in anything other than your fantastic read on Dustin Poirier? Do you
Um,
have anything coming up soon?
yeah, I'm on two small. No, actually, one small and one big project. I'm writing a tech breakdown on one of my favorite kickboxing bouts.
Oh, yeah, you told me about
Nikki
that.
Holtzkin versus Johan Konglou. If you have never seen that fight, you can find it on YouTube. Very worth it. One of the coolest fights you have never seen, most likely. And then I got a very big project over a certain fighter who is a favorite of mine I've written about before. That one's going to take me a minute, but it'll probably be on my Substack sooner or later, probably behind a paywall because I need a bit of
Yeah, for
money.
sure.
But
Go follow Dan on Substack. Give him money
yeah,
because he's like
uh,
very good writer and writes about cool stuff.
yeah.
So it's a win-win.
Other than that, yeah, I'll probably just continue my never-ending agenda, being mad that my top 100 boxing matches list was wrong about stuff, and I forgot stuff, which sucks. You have OCD and all.
Are you going to ever like do a redo on that one?
No, I'll probably just do like some like year later. Here's the stuff that needs to be reordered. Number
Okay.
59 needs to be 18. Number 99 needs to be at 67 because I'm that kind of freak.
Okay, that's good.
The only
Wish we had more time because it would have been cool to talk about a little bit about Whitaker and Pierre Jan especially,
oh yeah,
but
uh,
I'm running short sadly.
true.
So
Whitaker is fighting the Batman villain, the Riddler.
the Riddler, yeah. I'm glad we can agree on that. Guys, I'll be back on Saturday with Fight Companions. So and we have the fights early, so join me while you have lunch, and you can see me react to some good fights and some not so good fights. Uh, Glad you guys joined. Appreciate you a lot. Thank you, Dan. It's always a pleasure to talk fights with you, and also talk about like other stuff. Usually not broadcasting those, but it's fun too. Thank you so much, guys. Any closing words, Dan?
Always a pleasure to do these, guys. Make sure you support this man. He works very, very hard, and I am a difficult man to give out praise to, so he deserves it. Just whatever he's doing with his Discord profile picture changes right now, he's on his own. He'll give me back for this in like an hour. It's okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. I'll catch you guys later. Tune in on Saturday for the Fight Companion. Bye.
Okay. I'll be right back. I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick.